today for taking the time to talk with us at the Christian Beat about your upcoming music, which is exciting, I'm sure, for you. So I just wanted to start with when you first had the idea for this upcoming release, Esther.
Yeah. We're a band, but in some ways we don't function as a band. Like, we're not out touring all the time or anything like that. We both have full-time jobs. But as we write music, as I write music, and you start to get a collection of 15 or 20 or 25 songs, you start to take a shine to some of them. And we thought, man, we would like to put these together, and also we like to create. We like to create music together. So we talked to some friends who we've recorded with before, and we said, let's start having some rehearsals. It's the two of us, but then we invite other musicians in. Let's start having some rehearsals. And that was March of 2020. We did one rehearsal before COVID really hit really hard. And so then that all got shelved, and we just thought, man, we're not going to make a record anytime soon. And all through that time, I kept working on the songs and kept, weeding some in and out. And the name of the record is Esther, and that's Monique's grandmother's name. And as we were putting the songs together, Monique was spending a lot of time painting and using not only paint, but also a collection of things that her grandmother Esther had given to her. So right now we're sitting in our living room, which also doubles as Monique's studio, which is in some way also doubles as my studio when I sit here and play guitar. So that's what it's like when you live in New York in a 900 square foot apartment. The studio is the living room, is the dining room.
Yep.
And the TV room.
And the TV room.
A lot of things.
Yeah.
And the workout room.
The workout room, too. So it all sort of, it's almost like, it all became of one piece. Monique's paintings and her grandmother's voice. Her grandmother used to send her cassettes of her grandmother reading the Bible and send them to Monique when Monique was in art school. Mm-hmm. So, and we actually still have the physical cassettes, and Monique listens to them, and all of those things just sort of began to accumulate together into this sort of quilt, and then all of a sudden it takes a life of its own. So all of a sudden, we start talking about, okay, the album's called Esther, and then it's almost like you name a child, and the child has a personality, and you find out things about the child that you didn't know. Some of it you helped create, and some of it you didn't. So that's kind of how it came about.
Yeah, that's. I was going to ask about the title, because I had read somewhere that in some of the material that you had that personal connection and what it was named, or who it was named for, rather. So I was going to ask something along those lines too.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's interesting to me how much of the other art forms, I apologize, how much of the other art...
No, we love cats. I almost got up and got my cat too, our cat, so they could be friends together, the Zoom friends.
She somehow always knows when, the video comes on, and that's when she has to wake up and come over.
She wants to be part of the action too. Let's see her face. We'll go... Oh, cute.
So cute.
Yeah, she knows she's cute too, so that's... No, but it was interesting to me, though, in amongst all of the other art forms, outside of just the music piece that kind of influence your work and how you create. And I was just curious how that all works together for you and how they come together.
Well, one of the ways that it comes together is that when I'm painting, I listen to music, and sometimes I will listen to the songs on infinite repeat, and so each song will have a painting, and vice versa. Each painting will have a song on the record. In the material that everyone will get, you'll see 3 of my paintings, because the other ones are not done yet. So you'll get a taste of them. And what I tried to do was I intentionally tried not to illustrate them. Well, actually, even when I tried to illustrate the song, it didn't turn out that great. Like, it wasn't working. So I tried to be super intuitive. And I also thought by being intuitive, it was like the idea that it wasn't the song that came first, and then the picture was kind of just a secondary type of expansion. But it is an expansion in its own way when it's not directly related to the song.
I think the way that both of us work artistically independently, but also as we work as a band, is it's more intuitive than it is. There's certainly agency there, but it's more like I like to write music. I like to make these songs. Monique is a painter and she paints. She also contributes to the songs, but she'll ask me things going on in paintings, and that's just our life. And so these two things just kind of live together. Like we were saying before, they live together in the same literal space. So you asked, like, how did it all come together? It's not as if we sort of thought, let's have a multimedia presentation of these ideas, or let's have a multimedia rollout. We're excited by that kind of an idea, but it was more intuitive and more just, it was even late in the game that we said, I wonder if we could incorporate your grandmother's tapes into this somehow. And we had the idea that maybe there would be, right now you can hear Monique's grandmother's voice in like 3 of the songs, and it's in the middle of the songs. For a while we had the idea that maybe she would be every other song. There would be a span of her speaking. But we decided against that, and, what role would Monique's paintings play? So it's just kind of this, you kind of arrive at something. I know that there are some artists and some people who have a very clear idea of what they're going to do. I'm not one of those people, for sure. And I don't think the band is like that. It's more like, I had probably 20 to 25 songs written. And as I began to choose from them, it's almost this kind of dreamy kind of logic. They just begin to assemble, and some of it isn't even logic. Some of it is much more pragmatic than that. Like, we recorded some of these songs and they didn't turn out. You're like, I don't like how that song turned out. We can't use that one this time. Yeah. And so you're left with this group, and you say, okay, now who is this group? It's sort of like, showing up as a kindergarten teacher and say, who are all you people?
Like you look at your family and you're like, who are you? Who are we? Yeah, because really, like, we also did something. We are doing some things that are not conventional as well, by including my grandmother's recordings of her reading the Bible, and then putting forth some of my paintings. And then in the merch bundles that you can buy on Asthmatic Kitty, you can actually buy one of my prints from a painting. And then you can also, we made like a mixtape of some of just my grandma on an audio cassette. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like I think that we are trying to be intuitive and kind of approach things in a little bit of an unconventional way. Mm-hmm. And it's been harder.
I'm sure.
And hopefully the rewards will be exciting for other people besides us.
Yeah, and I'm also curious what impact you think time had in all of this, because you mentioned that you first were getting the band together March 2020, and then there was a pause or a period of time where you thought maybe that you weren't going to be doing this project, or what the project may look different. So I'm just curious, looking back now from where you are, if you think time had an impact, or what that actually had to play into what you're going to produce and put out in the world.
Yeah, it 100% had an impact. I mean, it had some pragmatic and very logistical impacts. Like we recorded in one place and not another, and recorded with some people and not others, not because we didn't like them or anything like that, but some of the initial people that we rehearsed with, they just weren't available later on. And so that had an impact. But I think it also had an impact. Obviously, everybody realizes our world has gone through a great trauma because of COVID, and great traumas in other ways too, culturally and otherwise. And so I think the shadows of those traumas and those reckonings are implicitly in some of the music too. And I think, not to be too not try to be too high level, but I think that the record is somewhat about time. Like, it's about waiting, and it's about the time stretching back to the home that you came from, and time stretching out forward to the home that you're trying to get to, and then the middle ground that you're in. You know, the Israelites wandered. That's God's people are a pilgrim people. And so in some ways, the COVID and the span of time that we're in right now, it's actually not that, it shouldn't be a surprise, or it's not that different from the way that Christians are called to live. We're called to live, we're not home. And this is a world that's really lovely and beautiful, but it's also broken. And so I think all that sort of is reflected in the music. At least I hope it is. I mean, that's certainly how we were feeling when we sang it and made it.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought that up, because when you listen to my grandmother's audio tapes, you get a sense, you can hear her room, because you can, at different times, you can hear her microwave, or you can, they're heating up the food, and then you could hear like her cuckoo clock, and at times, and it's a very quiet room that she's in, and actually, because they're even audio tapes too, that also is a sense of, it sounds like it.
Yeah,
it's like it kind of transports you a little bit, and you can kind of like. So there's a sense of going back in time and kind of hearing that space and hearing her.
Yeah.
And different stuff too. Interesting.
Yeah, no, that is interesting. And if I'm not mistaken, Isaiah California, you released as like a pre-release track of sorts ahead of the full project. And I'm curious why you chose that one to kind of preview the project, and you know, what that one said to you as kind of that first release.
Yeah. It's the first record. It's the first song on the record, but we chose it as the first song on the record and as the first single. It's sort of maybe a thesis statement for the whole record. It has Monique's grandmother's voice right at the front, and it says, "Come to me, all you labor and are heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. Take my burden on me, and my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." So that's a sort of a thesis statement, but it's also her voice that's coming to you from a long time ago. And I think we liked, you know, I sing probably, like, we kind of sing back and forth in a lot of the songs, but we're singing together in that one. Mm-hmm. And that song was written and is really about a time when we were, I don't say looking for a home, but kind of in a time of transition. And we went on a long trip, and it was a time of kind of some tumultuousness in our family and in our lives where we didn't feel very at home. And by the end of that trip, we kind of did. And it's a little bit about that, about refinding the home that you were already in. So again, it's kind of a gift to get to answer that question, because we do think a lot about these things, but then we also are both very intuitive people, and by that I'm not trying to attribute some kind of great virtue to that. I just mean we're not as intentional. We're like, okay, this is the lead single, and here's why. It's more just like, I think it's this one, and then it happens, and you think, I can answer the question better now than I could have when I made the decision initially. This would be the first single.
Yeah, that's fun. I'm curious what you're looking the impact of this project to be. I know it's your fourth full-length album, so you've had some experience on this type of, you know, projects before, but what are you looking the impact for this one to be?
I want to make a lot of money. I want to make a ton of money. I would like several of these songs to get purchased by films and TV. I would like several commercials. I would like Apple or Google to use one or more of these songs.
All right.
I would like to make... I would say I would be happy with $10 million.
Okay. Nice.
Beyond that, I don't have a mission for it. It's the money. That's why I'm doing this. I think so this will sound weird. I like to, you know, when I clean the house, I put on music, and what? That's not fun. When I clean the kitchen,
yeah, That's right.
Okay.
It was like just a fun, like, husband-wife moment,
Is it?
Like, I mean, not for you, for me.
It was fun for you.
No, but but when he cleans the house, he puts on music absolutely every time. It's true. Every single time you do it.
So when I put on music, you have certain things, like I'm sure you have songs, you have albums that you put on that are kind of your comfort food, that you put on when you're cleaning your house or when you are jogging or whatever the things that you like to do when you're in the car. And there are probably some things that you go back to. I have things that I go back to over and over. And this will sound weird, but in some ways that's what I aspire to. Like our music, I know that some people, like, they've told us, like, hey, your first record, every night for a couple months, we always listen to this right before bed with our daughter. And that is one of the most rewarding things. You're like, that's why we're doing this. Or somebody told us that they went to a wedding and the bride walked down the aisle to one of our songs. You're like, oh, that's why. So to get to participate in special moments where people take your music and then they make it part of their life. They make it. And so all the other stuff, like any success that you might have or any wider reach, there's lots of things that maybe we aspire to. But I think to know that there are people that just said, man, I really dug that song. That was important to me. Or somebody even left on the YouTube page for the first single, Asthmatic California. I wasn't doing very well tonight, and I listened to this, and it was really brought some peace to me. And, so when you can create something that brings God uses to bring some amount of little peace to somebody, then that's kind of what it's about for us, I would say, by and large. You make something, you just put it out in the world, and who knows what's going to happen to it. 5 people listen to it or 5,000, and you don't really know.
And it's challenging at times, but for the most part, we both really enjoy participating in this lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And of course, the lifestyle of like music making.
Yeah.
Like we also in art making, we also there's certain things that are lacking in our life, and you can tell like we don't participate in other ways that we, but everybody has to make choices. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that we participate in. Like, for instance, like, we've never renovated our kitchen. I'm just saying.
So, in other words, and this might be actually true, we didn't renovate our kitchen because we made a record. That's basic. This record took us a year and a half to make.
This or this.
So if you come over, the kitchen still has all of the same stuff as when we moved in. It's not a hand kitchen. It's a functional kitchen.
But I love interior design and everything. Don't get me wrong. But also I wanted, sometimes when I was laughing before, I just want to double check. I didn't hurt your feelings, did I?
Terribly.
I'm sorry. Sometimes I like to pretend that he doesn't clean the house and stuff, but it's not true. You do clean the house, yeah. And he's a great cook. He's actually way better cook than me.
Nice.
But I just wanted to make sure I didn't hurt.
You did not hurt my feelings. That's okay.
Sometimes I like to joke.
Yeah, no worries.
I like to joke like in interviews or joke in public.
No, I get it. And I know we're getting close to time, so I think I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
And you can make it, music-oriented, art-oriented, life-oriented in your answer, however you want to take it. But what are you most expectant for in the remainder of this year?
I like having people over to our house. I like all these holidays. I like having Thanksgiving and Halloween parties and inviting people over, and that time of year. This time of year is really, I always look forward to it because of those things, because you can make a big pot of stew and have people over, and that's what I'm looking forward to for the rest of the fall. Is that kind of what you were asking?
Yeah, sure. However you want to take it in whatever aspect. It's just.
I love the song Monster Mash. Do you know the Halloween song?
Yeah.
It's called the Monster Mash.
Uh-huh.
That's one of my favorite songs in the whole world. And you can't really play it, but you can't play it the rest of the year. But for 2 weeks you can play it. Mm-hmm. I can't even play it right now because it's not even October yet. But soon I'll be able to play Monster Mash. I'm sort of looking forward to that.
That's awesome.
I'm excited because yesterday I just found out that I got a studio for 3 months for free. I got a residency in my.
Congratulations.
So the next 3 months, I am looking forward to finishing those paintings.
Yes.
And being like working and having my own space that's separate from the living room. So I'm really excited about that.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, keep checking in.
Oh, that's fantastic. I just wanted to thank you both again, Monique and Vito. I really appreciated you taking the time today.
Thanks for inviting us on, and thanks for listening. It means a lot. You know, you make a record and you make an album and you push it out into the world, and then it's gratifying to know that people listened or care or want to talk about it. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. I hope you have a great rest of today.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You too.
Bye.
You too.